Part 1, Learning the Hebrew Letters. In this lesson, we're going to learn the consonants and vowels of the Hebrew Bible, how those consonant and vowels look, how they sound, their phonetics, and how to write each of the consonants as well. For this lesson, you will need a pencil and a notebook. That's it, so that you can begin practicing writing the Hebrew letters. Now in Hebrew, we call it the Alephbet. There's a reason we call it alphabet in English, looking at A and B as the first two letters. But wouldn't you know that in Hebrew, the first two letters are Aleph and Bet, and so we call it the Alephbet. The first letter is Aleph. It makes silent sound, as in the E in the word case. When writing it in English, we transliterate it with a backwards C, a small C, at the top left. All right, when writing the Aleph, you want to begin with a diagonal line from the top left that goes all the way down to the bottom right. And then you want to, at the bottom right on the right side, make a curve up, a little line, and then on the left side, a curve down with a little line. The next letter is the letter Bet. Now, this letter can get two different sounds, all depending on this little dot called a dagesh. With the dot, it makes the B sound, as in ball. Without the dot, it makes the V sound, as in vest. When transliterating it, if it has the B without the underscored line, it's a B. With the underscore line, it's a V. One thing you want to pay attention to with the Bet also is this little extra line on the right side. This will help you distinguish it from other letters that look very similar. When writing the Bet, you want to make, at least I do, make a sideways U. It goes all the way down. And on the right side, I make sure there's a little line, extra space there. That's how I write the Bet. Next letter is the letter Gimel. Gimel makes the G sound as in girl, or a G sound as in jog as well. Very similar. The only difference, of course, is again that dot called the dagesh. Very similar to the Bet. This letter gets a dagesh, and it can change its sound very slightly. When writing the Gimel, you want to make a little hook from the left down and around back to the left, and put a leg right in the middle. That's how you write the Gimel. The next letter is the Dalet, and this letter can make two different sounds as well. How will you know the difference? The dagesh. This dot that comes inside the Dalet can change its sound from being either a D, as in dog, with the dagesh, or th, as in thunder, without the dagesh. The transliteration follows this the same. With the dagesh, it's a simple D. Without the dagesh, it has the underscore under the D. One of the things you want to pay attention to with the Dalet is this extra line there on the right side of the vertical line. This will help you distinguish the Dalet from other letters in the Hebrew Alephbet that look very similar. When writing the Dalet, you want to begin with that horizontal line at the top, and then part ways in the middle, you want to make a vertical line to the bottom, and that'll make you have a Dalet. Next letter is the letter He. I know you see he, but it's really pronounced He, and it gets the sound H, as in heel, and its transliteration is simply a H. Now, you want to pay attention to the He in that there is a slight gap on the left side in the vertical line. When writing the He, you will start by making that small vertical line that's halfway down, and then at the top, you make your horizontal and full vertical line down. Always leave that gap. It will help distinguish from other letters. Next letter is the letter Vav. It makes the V sound as in vote. It gets the transliteration of W. When writing the Vav, you want to start with a slight diagonal line, not all the way down, but very slight, and then a vertical line from that point on down. That's the Vav. Next letter is the letter Zion. And this letter makes the Z sound as in zoo. It gets the transliteration of Z when writing it in English. And pay attention there, it has this extra side there at the top on the right side of the vertical line. This will distinguish it from that former letter we saw in Vav. When writing the Zion, you make a very similar diagonal line, slight ways down, and then a vertical line in the middle. The next letter is the letter Het. This letter makes the Ch sound as in church. It gets the transliteration of an H with a dot underneath it to distinguish it from the Hey. You'll notice that the Het has a completely closed in top left side, unlike the Hey. Very significant to recognize the difference between the Hey and the Het. When writing the Het, very simple. You want to kind of fill in that empty space on the Hey. So you make a vertical line, horizontal, and then vertical down again. Next letter is the letter Tet. Tet makes the T sound as in test, and this letter gets the transliteration of a T with the dot underneath it as well. When I write my Tets, I like to start with a U that has on its right side a line that goes in and out. And that's how I write my Tets. Next letter is the letter Yod. The Yod makes the Y sound as in yes, and it gets the transliteration of Y. It's a short letter. It doesn't go all the way down or has the same size as other letters in the alphabet, Alephbet. And so when writing the Yod, reminds me a lot of an apostrophe. You just have a slight line and down horizontally. The next letter is the letter Kaf. And you'll notice that this letter gets two different sounds as well, all depending on, of course, the dagesh. With the dagesh, the Kaf gets the K sound as in kitchen. Without the dagesh, it gets the Ch sound as in church. Its transliteration is a K or underscore K, depending on that dagesh. And notice that on the bottom side of this Kaf, there is no extra line. That'll help you distinguish it from the bait, which looks very similar. When writing a Kaf, it's pretty simple. You want to just make a sideways U, and that will make a very recognizable Kaf. Next letter is the letter Lamet. It makes the L sound as in little, and it gets the transliteration of L. When writing Lamet, you start with halfway vertical line, horizontal line, and then diagonal line. Kind of looks like an L, if you ask me. Next letter is the letter Mem. It makes the M sound, as in mice. It gets the transliteration of M. When I write my Mems, I start with a little line going down to the left, a little curve, but always leave that space. Leave that space in between those lines. That's the Mem. Next letter is the letter Nun. It makes the N sound as in noise, and it gets the transliteration of in. When writing the Nun, you want to start with a little diagonal line, vertical line, and then horizontal line at the bottom. Next letter is the letter somic. It makes the S sound as in solid. It gets the transliteration of S. Just a regular S for somic. When writing somic, you want to start with a horizontal line at the top and then basically a circle underneath it with that horizontal line at the top extending over the circle to the left. The next letter is the letter ayin. And you'll notice that the ayin is silent just like the first letter, aleph. It makes that E sound, which doesn't make a sound in the word close. And you'll also notice that its transliteration is very similar to the aleph. The aleph has a small c that opens to the left. The ayin has a small c that just basically looks like a C. And so when writing the ayin, we start with a slight diagonal line, not very diagonal, just slightly diagonal with a curved line underneath it. And that's the ayin. The next letter is the letter pei. And you'll notice that the pei has two different sounds as well. And those sounds depend on that little dot called the dagesh. With the dagesh, the pei makes the P sound, as in people. Or without the dagesh, it makes the F sound, as in phone. So its transliteration is dependent upon whether or not it has that dagesh, a P, or a P with a line on the top for the pei to identify it as that F sound, as in phone. When writing the pei, you want to start in the middle of the line. It reminds me a lot of a lowercase e. You go up, and over around, and then under again. And that'll be a very recognizable pei. The next letter is a sade. Sade makes the ts sound, as in cats. It gets a transliteration of an S as well, but this S has a dot underneath it, unlike the somic, which just had a regular S. When writing the sade, you want to start with a diagonal line down, horizontal line over at the bottom, then a little leg going up there on that diagonal line. The next letter is the letter kof. It makes the K sound, as in quit. And you got it, it gets the transliteration as a Q. It kind of looks like a Q, except it's backwards. And so when writing the kof, you start with a vertical line down, then a curved line around that does not touch. Make sure they don't touch so that you can easily recognize your kof. The next letter is the letter resh. It makes the sound R, as in run, and it gets the transliteration R. And you can see it too. Kind of looks like a R, except it's pointing in the other way. Hebrew does that a lot. When writing resh, make an R, except you go the other direction. And you'll notice that it's smooth at the top. That curve is very cornered at the top so that it looks very different from the dalet, which has that extra line there at the top. The next letter is the letter sin. And I know it looks like sin, but it's not sin. It's pronounced sin, and it makes the S sound, as in summer. And it gets the transliteration of S as well, however it has that accent mark on the top of it. You want to notice with the sin that there is a dot, not called a dagesh, but this is a dot that's on the left side of these three vertical lines or curved lines up. This distinguishes the sin from the sheen, which looks very similar. The sheen, however, gets the sh sound as in shoe. And it's transliterated as an S as well. However, it has that accent tilde mark right over its S. And with the sheen, that dot is on the right. And so the sheen is on the left, but the sheen is on the right. And when writing the sheen and the sheen, you want to kind of make a U and then put a line in the middle. And make sure that dot is on the left for the sheen. Make that U with a diagonal in the middle and a dot on the right for the sheen. Last letter is the letter Tav. It makes the T sound as in teacher or Th sound as in think. And you guessed it, the difference is the dagesh, which is a dot that comes in the middle of a Hebrew letter. With the dagesh, it makes the T sound as in teacher. Without the dagesh, it makes the Th sound as in think. And the difference in transliteration will be dependent upon that underscore on the T. Also notice that there is a little curve there in the Tav, which makes it different from the Het, which we saw earlier, and of course the Hey before that. When writing the Tav, you want to start with that curved line down, making a good curve, and then vertical and horizontal line at the top. And that's a very recognizable Tav. Lastly, we want to share with you the final letter forms. There are some letters that look differently when they come at the end of a word. Those letters are Kaf, Mem, Nun, Pei, and Sade. And so the final Kaf gets the Ch sound as in chicken, and it extends beneath the normal line of the letters. When writing the final Kaf, you want to start with what looks like a dalet. It looks just like a dalet, except it goes further below the line. Oftentimes you'll see dagesh or accent marks within it. The next final letter form is the Mem. It still sounds like M, as in mice. And the Mem has what looks like a box, really, with a slight diagonal line and a little piece that hangs there at the top. And that's how you write a final Mem. Very recognizable. Next final letter form is the final Nun. And it looks a lot like a Vav, but it extends below the normal line. So you'll know it's not a Vav because it has that extra extension that is below the line. The next final is the Pei, makes the F sound as in phone. And when making that final Pei, you just want to start like a normal Pei, but instead of curving back around, you curve down again below that normal line. Next is the final Sade. It makes the T sound as in cats as well, and looks a lot like a Y, but again, it extends below that normal writing line. And so you start with kind of a Y, and that's final Sade. Very recognizable.